Hey, I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co, and today I'm reviewing Pirates of Maracaibo from Capstone Games. Pirates of Maracaibo is a 1-to-4 player tableau building game that plays out across 3 rounds as players work their way slowly towards Maracaibo while upgrading, well, a little bit of everything, only to repeat that process 2 more times. 2 things before we dive into this. Number 1, this mat as well as these metal coins, those don't come with the regular game. The mat's official from Capstone, you can buy that. These metal coins are from Top Shelf Gamer, just making sure you know what you do and don't get if you do decide to get this game. Number 2, this is one of my favorite games right now. This along with the Shackleton base are my current 2 5 out of 5s that I have this year. We're currently at July 2025 as of right now, and these are my first 2 5 out of 5s that I have this year. They are both absolutely fantastic. I don't know which. I think I actually do know which one I prefer. It's tight, but I think I prefer Pirates of Maracaibo. I reserve the right to change that one. These are. I'm currently obsessed with both these games. I will dive into the regular review and all of that, but first of all, I want to make sure you do check out my Shackleton base review whenever nothing's going to pop up here. I'm just, whenever that shows up, Shackleton base review, make sure to check that out. As well as, if you don't make your way all the way to the end, I wanted you to know right away that I love this game. With that said, let's dive into how it operates, giving you a general overview, and then my thoughts and opinions, like, don't like, all of those things. Starting off with how it operates. It's going to play out across 3 rounds, like I told you already, with players taking their ship and moving it 1 to 3 spaces to one of these cards. So the only real rules are, well, there's a few rules, but first rule is 1 to 3 spaces. You can move 1, 2, or 3, must be at least 1, must be less than 3, unless you have abilities. Well, 3 or less, unless you have abilities that let you break that. Rule number 2, you must advance to a further column ahead. For example, moving from over here to go 1, 2, 3 is totally legal. Then going 1, 2, 3 is also legal. But it's not legal to go from here to go 1, 2, 3, even though you're moving 3 spaces, you did not advance closer to Maracaibo. You must always advance closer to Maracaibo as you play. Rule number 3, if you land on another pirate, you must pay them a coin. Unless you're playing with one of the modules, but we won't talk about that until later, but you must pay coins to the pirates that are already there. If multiple pirates are there, you must play multiple pirates. Once you are there, you're going to do all the things on that card, but before we do, we should note this spot here, and this spot here. These are not spots you can go onto. Those are spots that are going to contain the treasure and kind of obfuscate your way. This actually is not the beginner setup. It's just one of the suggested alternate setups you can have. That's the basic idea. Move 1 to 3 spots, do the things on the card, rinse and repeat until you make your way towards Maracaibo, or more specifically until one player makes the way towards Maracaibo, at which point you'll resolve other players getting one more turn, and then reset back at the beginning in order to repeat that loop 2 more times. It's the things you're going to be doing along the way where the game is going to give you all these options that we haven't really covered, because there are a lot of cards. There are going to be cards that give you ongoing benefits. Whenever you see one of these red tags here, that's something that's going to be an ongoing benefit. If you get this card, one of my favorite cards, especially if you can get it early, that's going to give you a discount on every single future card you purchase for the rest of the game. You're going to get a discount of $3 on that. That can be insane. Purchase enough cards, combined with the 9 points you get, you can do a lot if you get a lot of card purchase options. This card over here is going to give you an increase to your white dice in battles. When you do battles, we'll talk about them soon, but you're going to be rolling dice, and you can add to your dice if you have these. Alternatively, there are static ones. This one will simply give you 1 to whatever die you roll, not specific to a color. This one will let you move further on this exploration track where your pirates are going to be wandering along the board collecting various bonuses and getting points for the streams they cross. So all those red cards you see, those are going to be ongoing upgrades to your tableau, making you stronger and better as the pirate you were always born to be. Black cards are going to give you endgame benefits, and that's going to come in 2 general types. You have cards like this, for example. This one will give you, at the end of the game, you're going to get 7 points for every 3 gold you have. You invest heavy in a gold trading operation because there's pearls, what are the green ones called again? Sapphires? Why can't I remember? Emeralds. Pearls, emeralds, and gold. If you invest heavily into gold, you'll get a lot of points for getting this as an endgame card. There's also ones, in this case, we actually have all 3. You don't always have all 3, but we do have all 3 of those. And there's going to be residences. Residences also give you endgame bonuses. They're very hard to get the first round. If you really try, you can. Honestly, it's kind of not worth getting it until round 2 or 3, in my opinion. Usually round 3. Sometimes round 2, but these residences are going to give you points for, again, working your way towards certain goals. For example, if you get this card, you'll get 7 points for every 3 gold you have. If you get this card, you'll get 4 points for every gold you have, maximum 24. Combine those 2 up over there, and you can get a lot of points if you invest heavily in a gold plundering operation. I should note residences are a little different than other cards, in the sense that multiple players can go to a residence, putting their marker there. The first player will get an extra 2 points, but they are open to other players going to the residences so it's not the same as these, where you take them and remove them from the game. Speaking of which, the way that works is when you land on a card, you're going to have the opportunity to buy the card, you pay the cost, less any discounts, and you take a new card from the Age 2 deck and you put it out into a spot, giving a new card for other players to try to get their hands on, even right away. A player can follow right behind you, pay you your 1 gold cost because you're still on the card, and then take that level 2 card before even having to wait for the second route of your journey towards Maracaibo. So we have ongoing bonuses, we have the endgame cards, which are usually black or gray, and then we have the beige ones, which are one-time immediate use cards. So this one over here is you do a battle with 8 strength. When you do a battle, what you're going to do is you're going to count up your strength. In this case, it's going to be a static 8, and you cash it in for various bonuses. 5 strength gets you a various a good of a various type. 2 gets you 3 gold, and 1 strength gets you a point, and you can mix and match how you want, but you can only do each of those one time. As you play through the game, both on cards and on your pirate ship over here, you'll unlock new ways to add to basically spend strength. For example, if you get a token over there, you can spend 3 strength to take another of the 3 treasure types, letting you, if with 8 strength, for example, that you can go ahead with that there, you can take one of the treasure types from both of these spots over here. So lots of ways to upgrade your ship, both through the cards as well as your ship. Speaking of your ship, the way you're going to be upgrading your ship, the most common way you're going to be upgrading a ship is visiting islands. When you visit islands, there's a whole bunch of them. I think there's 8 if I recall correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 it looks like. So with these 8 islands over here, when you land on an island, if you move along 1, 2, 3, you land on an island. The first thing you always do is you take a gray cube and you upgrade your ship. You're going to be working your way left to right to a degree, meaning you have to have 2 in this first spot. Then you can go to the second spot. Once you have 8 total, you can go to the third spot. Once you have 12, you can go to those last spots. They are very powerful, but you have to have worked your way towards it. You have to spend a lot of time visiting islands if you want to get those spots. But these are all going to give you, again, both ongoing red bonuses over here, discounts on cards, more combat, more travel on the board, but also one-time abilities over here, which you can do right away as a one-time effect. So lots of different effects going on in your ship as well as on the board. Then when you're done with that, you're going to resolve the specific island ability. In this case, it's taking a new quest. Players are going to start with the quest, and you have new ways of getting new quests. This is one of them from the market, which will give you lots of points for achieving certain things. For example, this one will give you 4 points if you have 2 pirate ships. For example, this is a pirate ship card, that's a pirate ship card, and 1 residence. Or you'll get 9 points if you have 3 pirate ships and 2 residences. Getting residences is hard, getting 2 residences is expensive, so you'll have earned those 9 points. The last thing you do is on these various islands, you have these tiles over here. Not all islands have them, but some do. That's going to basically have you taking a token from the supply, putting it back onto the ship over here, putting it back into the island, and that's going to increase the value of that treasure. The reason that's relevant is because when you are engaging in combat, you are taking treasure off of the island, putting it onto your personal board over here, where you'll then have an opportunity to bury it, getting other bonuses, but taking treasure from the island reduces the value of that treasure for everyone, which means the more you take of gold, the less gold is worth, unless you can find reliable ways of putting gold back into the island, which you can. There's lots of ways you can play this game and have a whole bunch of a treasure and still have it be worth 5 points apiece. That is totally possible. But that depends on the actions you take, the actions the other players take, and how much players are playing into this little, what the value of any one of these goods is. So we've kind of covered most of the combat. Let's actually do one more thing with combat. General combat is going to come from these 2 cards. In those cases, you roll the dice. So what you do is you roll the dice. You get 1 reroll if you want. In this case, I'll just play it safe and just take the emerald. I'll take this 5. I'll add any bonuses to it, and then I'll spend it using my various abilities in order to get emeralds from the board. But if you don't like your roll at all, you could get 1 reroll, but you have to roll everything again. Look at that, the 6 over there. That's great. So you have an opportunity for at least some degree of mitigation. But you roll, and then you either reroll everything or not, and then you go ahead and resolve combat, taking the various bonuses. The last thing to really cover, there's a lot more small things to cover, but the last main thing to cover is going to be moving around this board. Whenever you see this symbol over here, you get to move 3 on the board. Again, there are ways to augment that. If you get this spot here, you can add 1 to your movement, and there's other cards like this card over here that'll let you add to that movement as well. And when you move on the board, you're going to count from the spot you're in, going 1, 2, 3, taking the bonus that you see there. You can move less if you want to, just a question of what you want, and also a question of how far you want to go, because you do get rewarded for crossing the streams up to 16 points, plus of course the spots that you land in along the way. I should note you don't count other players' spots, so if I'm over here, I would go 1, 2, 3, you don't count those spots, and that's going to be the way this little sideboard operates. I know I said last thing, but let's do one more thing over here. Lots of the cards are going to have costs on them, as well as points, as well as income. So a card over here, for example, has a cost of 4, points at the end of the game of 4, and income of 2. At the end of the round, you're going to collect income after a player has reached Maracaibo. Before you reset, players are going to collect both income from money, as well as income from points based on their cards, and you'll get that either 1, 2, or 3 times during the game, depending on when you acquired that card. That is a general overview of 95% of what you're going to cover in Pirates of Maracaibo. What you're going to see in Pirates of Maracaibo. There's a few other things to get into as far as little rules that you need to know. And then there are modules. Modules, also the endgame scoring, printed on your board over here. For the most part, things we covered, crossing streams, money's gonna be worth points, cars gonna be worth points, those gems are gonna be worth points. When you bury treasure is worth 2 points per buried treasure, regardless of the regular value of it, is worth an additional 2 points. And then you have the quests, plus a 10-point bonus for getting 6 quests. And then there are the modules. The modules give a bunch of different ways to play the game, from variable setup to a fog of war element, where you're gonna have some cards appearing face down on the board, so you have a little bit more of a uncertainty as far as how you explore the island. One of my favorite ones is the advanced quest module, where you only score quests if you achieve their second level, not their first, and you get a penalty for each quest you don't achieve, but there are more quests available in the market at any given point. I like that one a lot. Really forces you to lean into what you're doing and run the risk as to whether you can or can't get things. There's modules as far as a retirement area, where you can basically kind of invest into one of these residences based on moving your person forward and then pulling them back. So, and there's rubies as well. There's a ruby trade and a bunch of small little modules you can add to the game that will mix up the gameplay for you. There's also an expansion. I have not covered the expansion. It's too far for me to reach right now. But there's also Pirates of Maracaibo Commanders, which I have not played yet, but I will be coming back for a review in the future, covering both my thoughts on all of the modules, because I've played most of them so far, but not all of them, as well as my thoughts on what Pirates of Maracaibo Commanders adds. But that's going to be a review for a different day. For today, I think we can now move to my thoughts on Pirates of Maracaibo, of what I like, don't like, can see others not liking, all of that, and of course, final thoughts. As far as what I like in the game, there's so much going on here, and it's one of those games where sometimes I don't have a clear idea of how do I communicate to you, how do I tell you why it is that I like this game so much. But I can tell you some things. I know I can tell you some things. Others might come down to just, personal preferences, everyone having their own way that they look at a game and process that. And I have not played Maracaibo. The thing I find fascinating about Maracaibo, while I have not played regular Maracaibo, for those who don't know, there's Maracaibo, and then there's Pirates of Maracaibo. Pirates of Maracaibo being a shorter game that captures a lot of elements, but not all of the elements. Again, I have not played the original. And I'm looking forward to playing the original, because if you look at reviews for Pirates of Maracaibo, there are a lot of people who are like, I see no need to ever play Maracaibo again. This just does the same thing, but better and faster, and it captures the best parts of the game. And there's a lot of people that say, I don't need to play Pirates of Maracaibo, because Maracaibo is just a better experience. This just feels like a watered-down, less rewarding version of Maracaibo, which has me incredibly excited to play Maracaibo with a great amount of uncertainty as to which one I will like better, and it doesn't matter, because if I like Maracaibo more, that's incredible, and if I like Pirates of Maracaibo more, that's fine. I love this game. I don't need to like another game more than this. I mean, it's always great if you do. That's just worth noting as far as the games. But as far as Maracaibo, first of all, I'll say that you can get the experience you get in somewhere, I'd say, you can get a fast game in 60 minutes. Even a slow game is going to have a hard time hitting 90 minutes. This is a game that gives you a ton of game in a very short time frame. Like, you get a lot done. You can play this twice during your game night, a regular short game night, 3 hours, play it twice, possibly 3 times if you're really making your moves count. This gives you a lot of gameplay in a short time. And I think the main thing that I like about this game, because if I compare it to other games that I like, is the process of looking at this board and trying to chart out your path to victory. Because things will develop, things will change. You're going to have new cards coming into the board, but it very often is about min-maxing what you can get out of the system. It's a combination of knowing the general core pathways, whether it's combat, whether it's card upgrades, whether it's moving on the exploration track. You have to know the general core sets of how you get points, and then you have to do a little bit of everything and figuring out what you're going to do the most of, because that's what you're best at. You have to find and develop your competitive advantages in the game, and then try to use those competitive advantages to say, here's what I'm going to try to do. Here's how I'm going to try to work my way, because I see this card here and this card here. And if I move my ship there and then move here and then take that card, I see a good pathway forward where I can afford the things I want. I can have fun turns. That's part of the game, because part of the fun of it is that everything you do is fun. Everything you do feels rewarding. This is a game that lets you feel powerful as you go. The only question is, are you doing better than the other players? But you feel like you're doing a lot. You feel like your engine's moving and churning, and you're getting treasure, and you're moving along the pathways, and you're accomplishing your quests. Whichever pathway you choose, you're going to feel rewarded as you play, and you have the opportunity to try to chart your pathway with some degree of planning, with a lot of adapting in order to figure out what your advantage, what your pathway is going to be as you play through this game. The number of cards is going to be a huge thing as well. You have like this entire deck of 2 cards. So the 1 cards, you're going to see most of the 1s. Again, you start with a bunch of 1s, a bunch of islands, a bunch of residences, but you're going to start with a degree of seeing a good amount of what the game has to offer. That gives you the base. But then there's a ton of level 2 cards, an absolute ton of combinations, including islands. Like, it's so much fun to watch an island pop into play. You're like, wait, what? There's a new island on the board. We just discovered an island on our journey. It's a fun concept that happens, that you're wandering around the ocean, a new island pops out, or new cards. There's so much card variety going on over there that it's, again, just satisfying to watch everything develop. We haven't talked about a bunch of things. There's going to be all these masts over here. These are going to go to the front of your ship. You have a way of unlocking those. You only have a certain number available in each game, giving you, again, more variety. So there's variety to the modules you play, variety to the way you set up the board, variety to the cards that come out. Again, even the residences. There's 4 residences in play. This is the stack of additional residences that aren't in play. So it'll take you a while before you get to see really all of the different ways to combine things in order to try to achieve the most victory points. And speaking of which, I've seen players win with every strategy. I've seen players win by going heavy on quests. I've seen players win by going heavy on cards, by fully exploring this exploration board, by fully going into combat. Every single one of the core pathways towards victories, I have seen players win with this game, and that gives me a feeling of, like, I guess, satisfaction, knowing that everything, I can't say if it's well balanced, but I can say that I've seen every player with every core strategy win the game. And so I know all of them are viable pathways, or at least they feel like viable pathways based on my play so far. And the modules give you, again, more variety to the experience, although so far with the modules I've played, I don't think I feel that they are mostly necessary. Like I said already, I like the quests. The rubies were nice as well. Fog of War, maybe I have not played the retirement one, so I don't think I played that one. I think I played all the other modules. Rubies were nice. Quests were nice. Fog of War I don't think is my jam. I play with it again, especially to like show more players in my group and all that, but I think Fog of War is basically going to have cards going face down, and one of the things I love with the game is the ability to plan. So if you like leaning more into the how you're going to pivot and adjust, because don't get me wrong, you don't have to buy cards face down, you're moving, and as you move you reveal cards, and you get to choose whether you want to stop moving or continue moving. So it's a little bit of a push your luck system, a little bit of planning, a lot of adapting. I don't mind it. It's still a great game, but I definitely think that I enjoy seeing the board and being able to plan around my pathway more so. I would still play with it again. And again, all of this is done in a 60 to 70 minute playtime, giving you a ton of bang for your buck. As far as things I don't like in the game, there's only one thing, which is the cards. The cards don't rotate as fast in a 2-player game, and the market adjustment, this little element over here of having the markets go up and down, you don't see that happen as much as 2 players. So my only real critique is the 2-player game, while still being a ton of fun and I would happily play it again, I do find that 3 players is definitely the sweet spot, 4 players is also very good, and 2 players feels a drop, like there was, I wish there were either rule adjustments or something in play that would make 2 players feel a drop more dynamic the way that 3 and 4 players does. Again, I still have a lot of fun with it, but that's my only real critique is the 2-player mode is not as good as the 3 and 4 players. As far as I can see others not liking, the biggest thing that I can see you not liking is going to be these dice. Rolling the dice to try to get what you need, at the end of the day, that adds a hefty dose of luck to a game where you're trying to work towards your certain goals. And don't get me wrong, with two full rolls, your chances of getting a high number are very high, but especially with quests or with, like, again, the cards you're going to be buying, that means there's so many things that are dependent on getting a specific color. So if I'm trying to go for gold and I keep rolling poorly on gold, which isn't crazy, the amount of combats you have in the game are not going to be insane, and so it can absolutely happen that the dice foil an otherwise excellent plan. It's one of the one critiques I have is, while I've seen every pathway work as far as winning, I do think going combat heavy has the biggest chance of being a little bit messed over by poor dice rolls. Not that I've seen it happen enough that I'm too concerned, but again, that could be something I see others not liking. And also, I'll say that this one's a weird one, because I put it under what I can see others not liking, only because it hasn't happened to me yet, but if it happens to me, it's going to go under what I don't like, which is theoretically a player can rush the game. The nature of the game is you are moving across this board, and so if you start over here and you go 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4, you can have 12 turns the entire game. You can set it so that players only have 12 turns, 4 turns per round, if you really rush it, and while that would still be a fun-ish game, I don't think I'd enjoy this game nearly as much if I felt rushed by the other players. Now again, that hasn't happened to me yet. I don't think it will happen, because generally when I play this game, everyone I'm playing with wants to do as much as possible. They want to get as many things done, and so there is a little bit of rush. Are you going to get to Maracaibo first? Do I want those extra 6 points? There's definitely a little bit of rush of watching the players, but I haven't seen players rush the game. If that were to happen, then it would go into the category of things I don't like as well. But that is theoretically something that could happen, and I think it would impact my enjoyment. As far as final thoughts on Pirates of Maracaibo, I love this. I keep playing this game, and I'm excited to continue to play it. Every time I play it, I have a lot of fun. I'm excited to dive back in. I'm excited to try different combinations. I have the Pirates of Maracaibo Commanders right over there. Rules ready to be read. I just got it. I'm ready to open up, read the rules, and find out what they add. It adds commanders. I know that. I don't know what else it adds, because I want to dive into this game and play it again and again in more variations. I want to try the Fog of War. There's 2 Fog of War modules. I've only played one of them. I want to try both of them to really see how it is, because again, I still enjoy that game. I want to try more combinations of the modules. What if you play with quests and rubies and retirement and all those things, mix and match different things in different ways? What if you try different combinations of the board setup, as well as I've played all player accounts by now. I have not played solo. I haven't tried the solo. I want to try the solo game. I want to try commanders. I want to try all of this. I find this so satisfying with such a good amount of game put into such a small playtime. I'm excited to continue to play it. I like the tableau building. I like feeling more powerful. I like the charting out how I'm going to approach my pathway towards victory, and then adapting and adjusting based on the cards that come into play and the sheer number of cards that there are that could be in play. I like this a lot. I'm a huge fan. It's a 5 out of 5. As far as other game recommendations go, first of all, check out Beyond the Sun or Beyond the Horizon. Both those will give you as a player the same feeling of constantly upgrading, constantly getting more powerful tools at your disposal as you go through the game. Very different in the sense that there's not really a chart the way this one is. You're not really moving along a journey, but if you like that sense of upgrading, I think Beyond the Sun and Horizon and Beyond the Horizon will both give you that sense of upgrading things in a game. And then similarly enough, I felt this actually had vibes of Seven Wonders. Like, it has that arc. You're playing through 3 rounds of play. You're constantly buying cards. Some cards are going to help you more as far as points. Some cards are going to help you more as far as your engine. But it definitely had that vibe of going through 3 rounds, 3 arcs, while working your way towards figuring out which cards work best for your engine. Again, Seven Wonders is not going to have a journey you're going on. This one will. But I got similar vibes from why I like those experiences. In any case, and until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I definitely recommend checking out this game if you have the opportunity to do so. And as always, I hope you have a good one.